Because once it becomes a way of life, you don't have as much of a challenge in convincing other people about its significance. When it becomes a way of life, you don't have the same kind of fears because it's now so much a part of you. It's a part of your soul. It's a part of your heart. It's a part of your mind. It's a part of your spirit. It's just a part of all of who you are. And you walk in that, and you live in that, and you move in that, and you even breathe in that. And because of that, you begin to become a disciple in many ways and a witness for this thing called USANA. You duplicate that which you have seen in another, you become, and as you become it, other people begin to be attracted to you. You attract what you are. And even what you are not. And so it's important that we be the example. And in closing, I want to challenge everybody in this audience to move beyond your comfort zones. Because every day we come in contact with people who may not look like us, who may not communicate in the same way that we communicate, who may not come from the same socioeconomic background that we come from, but who nonetheless have a need for what we have. I remember a story of these two disciples who were on their way to the temple, and this gentleman who had been laid at the temple daily, who was crippled, maimed from his mother's womb, was begging for alms. These two disciples said, "Look on us. Silver and gold I do not have, but such as I have, I give to you." We have something valuable to offer people. And it may not be silver and gold, what they may be seeking at that moment, but that which we give them will afford them now an opportunity to come into the silver and the gold. And so my challenge to you is to step outside of the comfort zones and begin to make USANA your way of life. And as it becomes your way of life, allow yourself to connect with whoever, because everybody needs to be on USANA supplements. I will tell you this, when I came back from Sonavive, I was so convinced of these supplements. And you know, it's strange because I had, at that particular time, I had no foolproof. But it was something about what I sensed as the integrity of Dr. Wentz that spoke so many volumes to me that I believe it was the truth. And because I believed it was the truth, I knew it was the truth. I went back home because I had been supplementing for 10 years. And I got rid of all of my supplements. It didn't matter that I had spent hundreds, perhaps thousands of dollars, and now I was going to be throwing away close to full bottles of things that I had just purchased 2 weeks ago. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that or the people that you come in contact with, but that's how much I was convinced, other than those things that obviously USANA doesn't make. But I got rid of all of them. And now I'm sold on this for life. I'm here for life. Y'all not going to be able to get rid of me. And I am an advocate for this in both ways. It's a good business because it's not merely about making money. It's about helping people. And at the time I met USANA, I was looking for different kinds of business opportunities. And I've been presented with a lot of network marketing opportunities. And something about USANA was right because I knew that it helped people, but I also knew that the visionary had integrity. Now, I keep saying that. You may get tired of that, but that was important to me coming from the family that I come from. I knew that he was not just doing this perhaps because now, you know, the supplemental thing may be popular, but he had a sincere desire to see people free of pain and suffering and was willing to go against the grain to create products that were precise and accurate. And so I'm here, and I hope that we can all join together and begin to make USANA a household name. I believe it will happen as we begin to move in what I see as the new movement. And I close with this story about a man that died and was visited by an angel. This angel took this man to one side of the universe where there was a kingdom and there was all of this food laid out on the table, all kinds of food that really is not good for us, but is good to us. And I mean, it was laid out. They had everything that you could think of. Cholesterol city. But the man noticed something strange. These people were inept. They were impotent. There was no mobility of limbs, and they didn't have any joy. And he said, "What's wrong with these people with all of this delicious food?" And he said, "There's one law in the entire universe." And he quickly rushed him off to another kingdom on the other side of the universe, and there he saw the same banquet table, the food's laid out in the same exact places, but the people seemed to be more vibrant, and they seemed to be more healthy, and they seemed to be more joyous. And he said, "Wait a minute, what's the difference in these two kingdoms?" And he said, "There's one law in the entire universe." And he went on to say, "This is the law. You must use the utensils provided by the management." And he said these were 10 feet long utensils, 10 feet forks, knives, and spoons. And he said, "You see, in this first kingdom where the bodies were frail and there was no mobility of limbs and there was no laughter and there was no joy, they were taking these 10 feet utensils and they were feeding themselves and literally starving to death." He said, but in that second kingdom, they took the same 10 feet utensils and they decided to reach across the table and feed each other. My father, Martin King, really was teaching us about the interrelatedness of life. He was trying to help us to understand that I cannot be what I ought to be until you are all that you ought to be. And you cannot be all that you ought to be until I'm all that I ought to be. In fact, he said I could never be healthy as long as disease is rampant in society. And therefore, since we have within our possession something that is so powerful, we've got to learn